I'm currently typing this on the 83rd anniversary of The Wizard of Oz, and I thought I should celebrate once again. 2022 seems to be a milestone year for The Wizard of Oz. Not for the film itself, rather the background of the film. 2022 was the year Judy Garland would have turned 100. Earlier this year, the Sesame Street Wizard of Oz episode resurfaced around the internet, coincidentally just days after Judy Garland would have turned 100, and an official remake was confirmed on the 15th of August. As a Wizard of Oz fan, I went out of my way to avoid talking about Judy Garland beyond her role as Dorothy, or even Dorothy herself. I generally hear people only talk about her from the film. Not Ray Bolger, not Jack Haley, not Burt Lahr. Meanwhile, people seem to only have talked about Margaret Hamilton because she reprised her role in the infamous Sesame Street episode. If it wasn't for the Munchkins being as young as Judy, and surviving until recently, no one would talk about them either. Simply put, Judy Garland gets way too much credit. She's a good actress and singer. At the same time, when people bring up The Wizard of Oz, they should also talk about the amazing talent from the other actors, or maybe even the cinematic talent. One last thing I will say about Judy Garland is, I did come across a video to celebrate her 100th birthday. An actress dressed up as her and played the audio to lip-sync the scene when Dorothy first meets Glinda, the Good Witch of the North.
Then why did you ask if I was a bad witch?
A question that's on everybody's minds when watching the film. We all know you're a good witch, Jill. I actually can't remember how I came across this. All I remember is, after I did see it, I thought, oh yeah, Judy Garland would have turned 100 this year. That's how much I avoided her, as I actually forgot her birthday and the exact day she died. I just remember her death was the week before the Stonewall riots and the month before the launching of Apollo 11. Since I brought up the other actors, I will add this. Judy was the second cast member to die. That's only if you don't count Terry, the dog who played Toto. She only died a year and a half after Burt Lahr's death, the Cowardly Lion, in December 1967. Billie Burke, aka Glinda, died in May of 1970. There definitely seemed to be a curse in the late 60s among the actors in the film. That's a phenomenon fans should bring up instead of just Judy Garland passing her to sleep after taking sleeping pills. Then Jack Haley passed away in June of 1979, so close to 10 years exactly after Judy died. Another coincidence. Margaret Hamilton and Ray Bolger were among the last surviving cast members. Margaret died in May of 1985, and Ray died January 1987. Look, I know I said I wanted to highlight the careers and maybe the legacies of the other actors. That's a series of videos that deserve their own commemoration. First, I just wanted to put the timeline of their lives into perspective. As far as the cinematic talent of the film goes, I don't know how often it's overlooked that it's a film from 1939, and it's in color, in a time when film was still vintage looking and in black and white. Yes, it was possible. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs did it. The Adventures of Robin Hood also did it, and only 4 months later, The Wizard of Oz premiered. And only 4 months after The Wizard of Oz premiered, Gone with the Wind was also in color. Olivia de Havilland starred in both The Adventures of Robin Hood and in Gone with the Wind. About the actual scenes, one scene that scares young children, even to this day, is the scene when Dorothy, the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion approach the witch's castle. Earlier I mentioned that in the Sesame Street episode. I still haven't taken a look at it, though I imagine it wasn't really all that frightening because of how much the standards changed over the years, plus it was for children. Remembering that fact alone leaves a bigger impression of the castle scene being scary for kids over generations. The scene that frightened me was the witch's guards chanting, a scene that was surprisingly parodied countless times. Rio, 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 Rio. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is one of the most famous examples. If you look at various different lists of scariest scenes in non-horror movies, this is going to be one of those common that comes up, and rightfully so. I think one of the reasons it bothers me as much as it does still is because the film is over 80 years old. That sounds so archaic and so recent at the same time. I know he said it's scary for children over the course of generations. I myself still find it scary. Just listen to them chant throughout And yet, that's one of the reasons I still appreciate this film. This scene is actually one of the least rated scenes in the history of film. I know I've been rambling about different topics throughout the video. One last thing I will say is, I haven't seen the film in so long that I actually forgot some of the lyrics. The one that immediately comes to mind is I thought it was a scarecrow who told Dorothy, "He'll be another Lincoln if I only had a brain." not the other way around. The Scarecrow cited Lincoln when Dorothy first met him. I could be another Lincoln if I only had a brain. I could be another Lincoln if I only had a brain. I just wanted to do a video saying whatever came to mind about the Wizard of Oz for the sake of celebrating its anniversary. I hope I can still consider myself a fan because of this. And since I'm recording this long after the fact, I'm really sorry I couldn't post this on the actual anniversary of the film. And as always, thank you for watching.